Part 96. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 951. Chapter 951. Someone said they wanted to kill her and teach her a lesson? Asterisk. After hanging up the phone, Xiao Mian immediately booked a flight to Yunqing. Along the way, she was thinking about the last words Linda said to her. She also felt it. This time someone was deliberately trying to trouble her. Every piece of information and every sentence from that insider was aimed at her. Looks like he is revealing the so-called truth. But once the truth comes out, everyone can imagine that fans will definitely not let her go. The first thing Xiao Mian thought of was Huang Yilin. Huang Yilin went to find her that day with sulfuric acid and had the mentality of dying with her. You can imagine how deep the hatred for her is. Even if she didn't succeed that day, she didn't rule out the possibility that she still hadn't given up and found someone else to reveal the information. According to Huang Yilin's hatred for her, this is extremely possible. However, she felt that Linda seemed to know who the person behind her was. But because of that person's identity, it's difficult to say it. If it was Huang Yilin, Linda didn't need to be so scrupulous. But if it's not Huang Yilin, who is it? Qiao Angzhen? Thinking about what happened that time we met in the restaurant, this seems to be a possibility. Qiao Angzhen hates her no less than Huang Yilin. Asterisk. The other side. Mo's building. Mo Yesi came out of the meeting and saw Wei Zhen walking towards him with an anxious look on his face. Mr. Mo, it's not good. Wei Zhen looked anxious. He walked up to Mo Yesi and said hurriedly, "Mrs. something happened." Mo Yesi paused in his steps and his expression suddenly changed. What happened to her? His face paled 2 degrees almost instantly, and his tone sounded calm, but the hand on his side was clenched into a fist, and the veins on the back of his hand popped out. "Don't worry, Mr. Mo, don't get me wrong. The young lady is fine now. There is nothing wrong with her. It's just that someone exposed the truth about Tu Yuli's injury on Weibo. Now the young lady is besieged by the entire internet. A large group of people are here shouting for her to get out of the entertainment industry." As soon as Wei Zheng saw Mo Yesi's reaction, he was afraid that he might misunderstand, so he immediately told the story of Xiao Mian being punished by the entire network. Now the internet is full of people who are attacking the young madam, and some people are saying that they want to kill the young madam and teach her a lesson. Wei Zheng could clearly feel that as soon as he said these words, the surrounding temperature instantly dropped by at least 10 degrees. It was obviously a hot summer day, but he felt like he was getting cold all over. It was so cold that goosebumps broke out all over his body. Someone said they wanted to teach her a lesson by killing her. Mo Yesi's voice sounded calm, but every word he said was wrapped in a layer of coldness, which made people shudder. Wei Zheng has been following him for so long and knows that this is a sign of his anger. Because these people have touched the bottom line of his family, Mr. Mo. How dare you say anything about human flesh, young madam, teach young madam a lesson. Mr. Mo, can you not be angry after hearing this? That female artist named Huang Yilin did something unfavorable to the young lady, and the matter was settled in the end, but Mr. Mo still did not let her go. She was immediately sentenced to death as soon as she took action. Those who say they want human flesh to teach the young lady a lesson, aren't they looking for death again? Mr. Mo, most of these people are just talking nowadays. There are many trolls online, and everyone likes to exaggerate in real life. These people are basically low-life people, and there is no need to take their words seriously. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 952. Chapter 952. I want to see all the negative news disappear. Wei Zhenkong uses Weibo a lot and knows a lot about the various users on Weibo. Most of Tu Yuli's fans are relatively young. These fans are all impulsive types, and many of the things they say are not thought through. When talking about human flesh, it's mostly just for oral pleasure. Wei Zheng felt that there was no need to take this seriously. But Mo Yesi obviously took it seriously and said with a cold face, "These people you just mentioned, go and find out who they are right away. I want to know all their information." "Yes, Mr. Mo. What happens after we find the information?" Wei Zheng silently mourned for those people in his heart. Once his Mr. Mo decided to take action, he was afraid that those people would be in trouble. So in many cases, oral pleasure is indeed a temporary pleasure, but after the pleasure is over, you may also pay a heavy price. You still can't get high casually. For example, if the object of oral pleasure is a young lady whose husband is particularly powerful, she really doesn't even know how to write the word death. The information has been found. Mo Yesi squinted his eyes, a stern look flashed in his deep eyes. "Let them taste the bitter fruit of human flesh. I don't think you need to teach you what to do." Wei Zheng understood it quickly. He said respectfully, "Yes, Mr. Mo, I will do it right away." "What are the hot search topics about the young lady on Weibo?" "Remove immediately." "Yes. However, I'm afraid that if the topic is removed, a new topic will be raised soon." Wei Zheng thought for a while and said, "I have already checked." This revelation was premeditated, and it was aimed at the young man. Madam went. Those hot searches went up very quickly, and at the same time, many so-called insiders came out to break the news. The contents of the news were very detrimental to the young lady. Now, Tu Yuli's fans think that after Tu Yuli was injured, the young lady ignored him. Asked, saying that the young lady is a wolf-hearted person. This is also because a person claiming to be a hospital nurse said that the young lady has never visited Tu Yuli in the hospital. This incident caused strong dissatisfaction among his fans. Now, all his fans have gone to Huanyu's official Weibo and left messages, asking Huanyu to fire young madam, otherwise, they will boycott all future movies and TV series produced by young madam, as well as all advertisements received. Mo Yesi's handsome face seemed to be covered with a layer of ice, and his voice also seemed to be covered with a layer of ice. What did Huanyu say? Huanyu has not yet given any response. Go and find out. Mo Yesi's eyes were cold and sharp, and he pursed his lips. After a moment, he said in a cold voice, "Find out who is behind the scenes. I don't care what method you use, within an hour, I want to see everything negative news disappears." "Yes, Mr. Mo. Also, if anyone dares to spread negative news about the young madam again, please directly issue a lawyer's letter to prosecute." "Yes, Mr. Mo, but do you have any questions?" Wei Zheng hesitated for a moment and then asked, "Mr. Mo, when you send a lawyer's letter, are you sending it in the name of Mr. Mo? If so, what should you say if someone speculates about the relationship between the young lady and Mr. Mo?" When Wei Zheng said this, he hesitated for a few seconds, and continued hesitantly, "On Weibo, there are still rumors that the young lady has a financial sponsor. If the lawyer's letter is issued in the name of the Mo family, there will definitely be netizens saying that Jiao Mianmian's financial backer is a senior member of the Mo family." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 953. Chapter 953. Mian Mian is my woman. Mo Yesi quickly understood what he meant. The man was silent for a moment, his brows slightly furrowed. At this time, he naturally hopes to help Chiao Mian Mian settle those matters in the name of Mr. Mo. This way, those who attack her behind the scenes will be afraid. From now on, no one will dare to touch her casually. He hoped that he could stand by her side in the name of her husband at this time, help her resist all harm, and protect her. But, he promised her. Before she graduates and within 2 years of signing with the agency, their relationship cannot be exposed. Even if he is reluctant in his heart. Whatever you promised her, you must do it. Then don't do it in the name of Mr. Mo. Contact Huanyu and ask them to send a lawyer's letter. If they ask about the relationship between Mian and Mr. Mo, tell them that Mian is my woman. He just agreed not to make his relationship with Jiao Mian public. It doesn't mean that he has to hide their relationship in private. When necessary, letting her agency know who she relies on will only do her good, not harm. It can make her agency value her more. The reason why Huanyu has not responded yet is probably because they are considering whether they need to spend energy and money on public relations for such a newcomer. Asterisk. Wei Zheng quickly went to do the things Mo Yesi asked him to do. As soon as Mo's public relations department was dispatched, within an hour, all the hot searches about Jiao Mian on Weibo were completely removed. Relevant topics have also been deleted cleanly. Those trolls who controlled the comments in the comment area were quickly overtaken by another group of new trolls with a larger number and better quality. At the same time, those official entertainment Weibo posts and Big V posts that had been retweeted by insiders all deleted the retweeted posts. Even the Weibo posts of the insider have been deleted. After a while, some netizens discovered that the insider was not only deleted from Weibo, but also that this person was directly banned. As for other netizens, they soon discovered that when they typed the words Jiao Mian Tuyuli in the search bar, nothing could be found. These two names have become sensitive words. In less than an hour, all negative topics about Jiao Mian disappeared completely and completely. It was as if the news related to her that I had seen before were all hallucinations. Netizens were shocked. They all said, "Damn it, what is going on? Has the financial backer finally taken action? Who is this big shot? He is so awesome." Tuyuli's fans were even more outraged when they saw that the relevant topic was removed and even searching for Jiao Mian's name became a banned word. It's just that this time, no matter how many fans searched for related topics, it failed to become a hot search topic again. Seeing that the denunciation on Weibo failed, the irritated fans organized a team and said they would go downstairs to the Huanyu company to ask for an explanation. They could not let Jiao Mian go like this. The incident became such a big deal that Tuyuli, one of the protagonists, fell silent for a few hours and then posted a long Weibo post. In a long Weibo post, I confirmed that some of the things said by the insider are true. Because he was injured and it was inconvenient to continue working, he decided to study abroad for a year while recuperating. But he strongly denied that Jiao Mian ignored him afterwards. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 954. Chapter 954. These vulgar powders are also called the best. In the long Weibo post, it was explained that Jiao Mian accompanied him to the hospital and took care of him in the hospital for the whole day. He also asked his fans to stay calm and not to hurt innocent people. Huang Yilin is the one who should be criticized. Jiao Mian did nothing wrong. And because of this injury, he can finally take a good rest for a year. He feels that this is not a bad thing for him. He has been working year-round for several years. He is tired and needs a good rest. In this year, he wanted to settle down and further his studies. Finally, he told fans not to worry about the injury on his hand, saying that his injury was not as serious as the news revealed and that he would recover slowly over time. As soon as his Weibo post came out, fans not only did not let go of their hatred for Jiao Mian, but their hatred became even more intense. Because the idol they regarded as a treasure not only got hurt because of the woman named Jiao Mian, but now he also spoke for her every time and seemed to be extremely protective of her. Doesn't all this just confirm the previous scandal? Fans can't accept that their idol will fall in love with a newcomer. And he is also a newbie who is said to have a financial backer. Such women are not worthy of their perfect idols. Fans have left messages on Tu Yuli's Weibo, asking him not to be confused by Jiao Mianmian's face and not to like such a dirty woman no matter who he likes. Some fans left direct messages saying that if Tu Yuli really liked Jiao Mianmian and got together with Jiao Mianmian in the future, she would commit suicide. Asterisk. At the same time, Gong Zili was invited by Yan Xiaoqing to go out to sea for fun. Yan Xiaoqing called a group of young models and young artists to come out. All of them were fair-skinned, beautiful, long-legged, with and thin waists. They all competed with each other in beauty. Yan Xiaoqing is a master of love affairs. He is also a master at choosing women. The women he picked out were all top-notch beauties. Miyazawa is also a player in this regard. Although he had always shown that his heart only belonged to Shenro, he would still come out to play when it was time to play. Didn't treat Shenro like a jade. So every time there was a game like this, Yan Xiaoqing would ask him to come out and play together. But this time, Yan Xiaoqing clearly felt that his good brother was a little absent-minded. He took a bottle of red wine and walked over, touched Gong Zili's shoulder, raised his eyebrows at him and said, "Fourth, what's wrong with you? Are you worried? Or are you not interested in the beauty I called today? Isn't this the type you like? These newcomers are all the best, brother, I have tasted them for you first, they taste good." Gong Zili turned his head and looked at him indifferently. "Second, brother, you are not vulgar." Yan Xiaoqing. He looked confused. "Fourth, what do you mean? Who are you calling vulgar?" Gong Zili glared at him directly. "These vulgar powders are also called the best? Your aesthetics and taste have become worse and worse recently. If you don't criticize, just use them all. I'm not interested." Yan Xiaoqing. He widened his eyes and looked like he had seen a ghost. "Fourth, aren't you? Have you been stimulated by something? You can't say such things against your will just because you had a conflict with that girl Shenro and were in a bad mood. The women I found this time are all top-notch, whether it's their face or figure, they are all genuine. You actually call them vulgar. Didn't you like this the most before?" End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 955. Chapter 955. Don't mention her in front of me again. Yan Xiaoqing has always been very confident in his level of appreciation. At this moment, he was told that the woman he found was vulgar. How could he bear it? And the person who said this was Gong Zili. Isn't this strange? These young models he found were all based on Gong Xi's favorite tastes. All of them have slim waists, big breasts, long legs and buttocks. They are definitely the best of the best. How could they become vulgar and tacky? Gong Si, this guy didn't have such high vision before. Gong Zili's face darkened slightly when he heard him mention Shenro, and the breath on his body became quite cold. Yan Xiaoqing felt it, glanced at him thoughtfully, frowned slightly, and said, "Lao Si, you and Rura, what's going on between you? Okay, why are you in conflict? You're not. Do you love that girl the most, and you are willing to have a conflict with her? This is the first time ever. What happened?" Yan Xiaoqing was extremely curious about this matter. It is not surprising that Gong Zili has conflicts with anyone. It is not only strange to have trouble with Shenro, but also very, very strange. How much he favors and likes Shenro, they, who are brothers, can see it. Although Gong Zili is the same as him in private life, they are both people who like to have fun, and they have not given up the whole forest just because they like a woman, but they are very different in one thing. He has no worries in his heart, so if he likes to have fun, he can do it as he pleases. There is no psychological burden. But Gong Zili was in love because of unrequited love. He likes Shenro, but Shenro doesn't like him. His feelings were not reciprocated, so he followed him around. If Shenro also liked him and was willing to be with him, his emotional state would not be like this. Gongzhou left the waves and returned to the waves. Shenrou was always the first in his heart. So under such circumstances, it was really strange that he had a conflict with Shenrou. It's nothing. Gongzili obviously didn't want to say more. Yan Shaoqing, I asked that girl, but she kept crying and refused to say anything. I asked you, but you didn't want to say either. What's wrong with you? You made it so mysterious that even I can't know. Speaking of which, what do you think of her? Now that ACI is married, she should slowly give up. Have you ever thought about giving it another try? I think you have a great chance this time. Other than Mo Yesi, Gongzili is undoubtedly Shenrou's best choice. No matter the personal conditions or family background of both parties, no one is more suitable than them. The most important thing is that Shenrou will never find another man who likes her as much and values her as much as Gongzili. Don't mention her in front of me again. There will never be any possibility between me and her, Gongzili said with an indifferent expression. What? Yan Shaoqing was taken aback. Fourth, isn't it? You guys are in such a quarrel? What on earth is going on? You should tell me. Why don't you mention her again? Now, you are making it seem like you will never have anything to do with her. Could it be that you have already confessed your love to her and she rejected you again, so you have completely given up on her? Looking at Gongzili's depressed and absent-minded look, Yan Shaoqing felt that this was a high possibility. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 956. Chapter 956. Get out of here, stay away from me. Most likely, that's what he said. Even if a man likes a woman, after experiencing disappointment and blow again and again, there will be a day when he wants to let go. No matter how much you like it, who can persist in something for which there is no hope? Gongzili has persisted for so many years, which is already a long relationship. Now, I'm probably really tired. Gongzili pursed his lips, turned around and looked at the sea in the distance with a stern face. His voice was extremely indifferent. In short, she and I are almost strangers from now on. Don't mention her to me if you have nothing to do. I don't want to hear anything about her. Anything. All right. Yan Shaoqing had an I understand expression on his face, and nodded repeatedly. I understand. In the future, I will try not to mention her in front of you. But, do you really plan to be strangers? So many emotionally, it would be a pity if we really became strangers. I have no idea. Gongzili half squinted his eyes. At least for now, I don't want to see her again. As soon as he saw Shenrou, he would think of being deceived by her. He couldn't help but mind. But they have been friends for many years, and the Shen family and the Gong family are family friends, so he can't do anything to Shenrou. Can't punish her, and can't forgive her. Then don't see her again. At least, when he didn't see her, he wouldn't think that she had deceived him. Since you are in a bad mood, you should go out and relax. Yan Shaoqing waved to a young model standing not far behind him and motioned for her to come over. When the person came over, he motioned to the little model with his eyes. The young model went to accompany Gongzili. The young model glanced at Gongzili's handsome and feminine face, and immediately blushed and her heart beat. She walked towards him with a bit of obsession in her eyes, and said in a coquettish voice, "Young Master Gong, what's the point of drinking alone? Let Chasha let me drink with you." Accompanying these second-generation rich people who are rich, powerful, and beautiful is a profit for these young models. Especially the second-generation super-rich like Miyazawa Lion Shaoqing, whose appearance can be compared to that of a star. It's much better than the fat, round, and wealthy people they used to accompany. Although someone with their status cannot be their real girlfriend, if they can find a long-term lover, that is still a profit. After all, both of them are famous in the circle for spending money. Unexpectedly, before the young model reached Gong Zili, she was frightened by his cold eyes and did not dare to go any further. She shouted in fear, "Young Master Gong." Gong Zili had no warmth in his eyes and looked at her with disgust. "Go away, stay away from me." The young model was so excited that she wanted to seduce him, but before she even started to flirt with him, she was so frightened that her face turned pale and her whole body started to tremble uncontrollably. I'm afraid that Gong Zili is going to be irritable. Everyone knows that the crown prince of the Gong family is rich, powerful, and has a very good-looking face. He can be said to be the perfect lover in the hearts of many women. Unfortunately, no one is perfect. His violent temper alone makes many people fear him. When you are sick, you can't even control your emotions, which sounds scary. Yan Shaoqing looked at the frightened young model who was shivering, and waved his hand to let the young model leave first. At first, he was still thinking about the young model flirting with Gong Zili, but he immediately turned around and left quickly with a look of horror on his face. After the young model left, Yan Shaoqing frowned and looked at Gong Zili and said, "Fourth brother, look at how scared you were just now." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 957. Chapter 957. Do you really have those thoughts about your sister-in-law? Are you not in the mood to play, or do you really think they are vulgar fans that you can't stand? Gong Zili said expressionlessly, "It's time for you to change your taste." Yan Shaoqing. Don't you just like this kind of thing? I picked all these according to your preferences, now you tell me to change the taste. Gong Si, your taste has changed and you don't like this kind of hot girl now. Gong Zili still looked at him expressionlessly, silent and did not speak. Have you really changed your taste? Yan Shaoqing said and then looked at him suspiciously. Then what kind of music do you like now? What type do you like? Gong Zili opened his mouth, but before he could answer, a petite and clear figure appeared in his mind. Subsequently, the face of that figure slowly emerged, and in his mind, it became clear bit by bit. His heartbeat suddenly skipped a beat. When the words come to my lips, I want to say them but can't. He already knows very well what type he likes. It's just that it's a name he can't say. Seeing the changing expressions on his face, as well as the hesitation to speak, Yan Shaoqing's expression suddenly changed, and she suddenly pressed down on his shoulders, hugged his shoulders and said seriously, "Fourth, aren't the scandals that were spread before true?" Gong Zili's eyes flickered slightly and he pretended to be confused. "What scandal are you talking about?" The expression on Yan Shaoqing's face became more serious, and he lowered his voice and said, "It's the scandal between you and my sister-in-law. There is no one else here. Tell me honestly, are you really interested in my sister-in-law?" Yan Shaoqing remembered that time at KTV. At that time, Gong Zili's reaction was not quite right. At that time, he didn't think much about it. After all, Gong Zili has always been very hostile to Jiao Mian, who would have thought of that? But now, looking at his unusual appearance and thinking about the scandals that had been spread some time ago, Yan Shaoqing felt that those scandals were not necessarily groundless. He knows Gong Zili. This guy was already very abnormal when he helped Jiao Mian clarify on Weibo. What's more, Jiao Mian looks like a fairy. Even at the beginning, he had some thoughts that he shouldn't have. If Jiao Mian hadn't married Mo Yesi, he would have gone after him long ago. So it's not that unbelievable that Gong Si would fall in love with Jiao Mian. No, Miyazawa turned away, with an unnatural expression on his face, and quickly denied it. Yan Shaoqing's heart sank when he saw this. "Fourth brother, do you really have those thoughts about my sister-in-law?" "No." Gong Zili seemed to be a little angry. He turned his head and said with suppressed anger in his deep voice, "Yan Er, is there something wrong with you? I already said no, why the do you keep asking? Yan Shaoqing looked at his angry expression with a serious expression, already knowing it in his heart. Even though Gong Zili has been denying it. But if you can't tell whether what he is telling the truth or a lie is not clear to you who has been a friend for many years, then the brotherhood that you have had for so many years is all fake. Yan Shaoqing did not expose him. After a moment of silence, he said in a deep tone, "Fourth brother, you know what kind of temper a SI is. I also hope that I have overthought it, otherwise, I will see you two quarreling over a woman in the future. If you don't even have to be brothers, then it's boring. We promised to be brothers for life." Gong Zili pursed his lips and said nothing with a sullen face. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 958. Chapter 958. Is there someone else for the fourth child? How could he not hear what Yan Shaoqing meant? He is reminding him not to do something he shouldn't do. Speak less. A young model twisted her waist and walked over to look for Yan Shaoqing. When she reached Yan Shaoqing's side, she reached out to hold him in her arms and said sweetly, "Why are you ignoring me? It's so boring to be alone." Exactly. Not to be outdone, another young model also came over, stretched out her hand to hold Yan Shaoqing's other arm, and said in a more coquettish and sweet voice, "Young Master Yan, come and play with us. We are all so bored when you are not here." Yan Shaoqing had an expression of enjoyment on his face, enjoying the feeling of being hugged from one side to the other. He reached out and pinched the fair face of one of the young models, curled his lips and said, "Have you seen this person next to me? You guys today, if anyone can make him happy, I will give you a sports car." When they heard that a sports car was being delivered, the eyes of the two young models lit up. But looking at Miyazawa's indifferent expression of "keep away from strangers," I felt a little scared. Yan Shaoqing glanced at the two young models, raised his eyebrows and said, "Why, a sports car can't impress you?" "No, it's not." The young model jumped to try, but when she came into contact with Gong Zili's cold gaze, she immediately shrank back in fear. "Yan, young Master Yan, isn't young Master Gong already someone? I'm afraid. They don't like us." Yan Shaoqing raised his eyebrows with a curious look on his face. "Is there someone else for the fourth child? Why don't I know who this person is?" The young model mustered up the courage to glance at Gong Zili, and then immediately looked away. Now everyone in the circle knows who Gong Xiao's new favorite is. Gong Xiao is so kind to her, and we are all so envious. Today everyone is particularly envious of Gong Xiao's anger. Yes, Master Gong is so handsome when he takes action. Another young model took the opportunity to flatter her. That young newcomer is really lucky to have Master Gong value her so much. All the sisters in the circle are special. I envy her. Gong Zili, who had been unresponsive all this time, suddenly turned his head and looked straight at the young model who had just spoken. "Who is the person you just talked about? What happened to her?" The young model was suddenly stared at by him like this. When she met his narrow and soft eyes, she couldn't help but shudder. She leaned towards Yan Shaoqing in fear. Gong Shaoqing knows who we are talking about. Isn't your new favorite, the young newcomer named Xiao Mian?" As soon as the young model said these words, Yan Shaoqing's expression suddenly changed. He stretched out his hand to push the young model away, his face darkened, and he scolded in a cold voice, "What nonsense are you talking about? Who told you that the young lady's new favorite is hers?" The young model's face was so frightened that she turned pale. She looked at him and said tremblingly, everyone said so." "That's what you said." Yan Shaoqing's face darkened again, and he frowned. "What happened to the anger you just mentioned turning into beauty?" The young model also heard the gossip from others. Frightened by the gloomy expressions on Yan Shaoqing and Gong Zili's faces, They immediately told the truth about Jiao Mian being attacked by two Yuli's fans on the internet. Yan Xiaoqing listened quietly. Gong Zili's face became increasingly gloomy upon hearing this. When the young model finished speaking, he narrowed his eyes and said to Yan Xiaoqing with a stern face, "Go back immediately. I have something else to do and I can't accompany you today." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 959. Chapter 959. How did she offend you? Yan Xiaoqing frowned. Fourth, what do you want to do? Don't worry about it. Gong Zili tightened his fists, and there was a coldness in his eyes. I know what you are worried about, and I know it in my heart. Brother, I say it again, go back immediately. Asterisk. After an hour, Miyazawa got off the yacht and received a message from his subordinates. After reading all the news, his face became gloomier and uglier, and his eyes became colder. He called Shenro. Soon, Shenro was connected. Shenro looked surprised. Zili, is it you? Gong Zili was silent for a few seconds, and said in an indifferent voice, "It's me." "It's really you," Shenro said with joy in her voice. "Zili, why did you call me? You know, I just saw your name on the caller ID. I'm really fine, happy. I thought you would never call me again. Zili, can we meet? I want to have a good talk with you about what happened that day. I know you are still angry with me, and I also know you will not forgive me easily. But seeing as we are like this after many years of friendship, please give me a chance to make amends, okay? Since I separated from you that day, I suddenly realized that I really can't live without you." As she spoke, her voice choked up. "These days, you have been indifferent to me. You don't answer my calls and you don't reply when I send you messages. I'm really not used to you treating me like this. In the past, when I called you, you always answered the phone in seconds, and when I sent you messages, you replied in seconds. Zili, you have pampered me for so many years, but suddenly you are so indifferent to me. I really feel like life is worse than death these days. Can we really not go back to the past?" Gong Zili listened to her crying sound coming from the mobile phone, and then thought about the various interactions between the two over the years. He couldn't help but soften his heart. "Just when I wanted to relax and comfort her, I suddenly thought of the message I just saw, and I suddenly woke up again. You just said you wanted to meet, right? Okay, let's meet." "Over there," Shenro was stunned for a moment, and then said in surprise, "Really? Are you really willing to meet me? Okay, Zili, I'll go find you right away. Let's make an appointment at the same place. I'll meet you in half an hour, just get there." "Good." Gong Zili responded and hung up the phone. He opened the message again that his subordinate had just sent him. That message had only 2 words, Shenro. Asterisk. Half an hour later, Miyazawa arrived at the agreed place. The waiter respectfully led him outside the box that Shenro had reserved. Shenro arrived very early. When she opened the door, she saw that she was already sitting inside. Seeing Gong Zili walk in, she stood up excitedly from where she was sitting. Her eyes were a little red and she shouted softly, "Zili, you are here." Gong Zili nodded indifferently. The waiter closed the door. Shenro took another step forward with red eyes, reaching out to take Gong Zili's hand. "Zili, I." Gong Zili calmly turned sideways and avoided her outstretched hand. "Shenro, let's talk about something." He raised his narrow, feminine eyes, which lacked the tenderness and intimacy of the past. His eyes were cold and said, "Why did you do that? Where did she offend you? You have to hold her back like this again and again." Put. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 960. Chapter 960 I just want to kill her. Shenro was stunned and opened her eyes in shock. Zili, what do you mean? Gong Zili looked at her intently. Today's revelations on the internet were probably made by you who contacted people, bought the information, and then let people release it. Shenro, you should know ACI better than me. I can do it if he finds out that you did it, he will definitely be able to do it too. Have you ever thought about the consequences if ACI knows that you did this? What's the point of doing this? His heart is not with you, and no matter what you do, it can't change it. Shenro's eyes showed panic. She looked at Gong Zili in shock and disbelief. Have you ever investigated me? Is this why you asked me out today? Gong Zili, are you really attracted to that woman Jiao Mian? Gong Zili looked at her calmly. I just want to tell you, enough is enough. You know ACI's temper. If you challenge his bottom line again and again, aren't you afraid that he will really take action against you? I believe he has now found out who is behind this matter. Shenro, please stop and don't make things too extreme. It will not do you any good in the end. An hour ago, Gong Zili asked someone to find out who was behind the revelation. He knew that Shenro hated Jiao Mian. In the past, he could turn a blind eye and ignore these things. But now, he has to take care of it. Even if this person is Shenro, he can't let her hurt his savior. So, you really came to me for that woman Jiao Mian. Shenro's face darkened instantly, anger rushed into her eyes, and she said with a livid face, Gong Zili, do you even like this vixen? What do you mean, are you trying to stand up for her? Yeah, I didn't like her, so I wanted to kill her. You didn't know that I didn't like her just now, you didn't say anything before. What's the matter, now you know that I wasn't the one who saved you that night. You fell in love with her instantly, so you can't stand me dealing with her. But, I just hate her, I just can't stand her, and I just don't want her to have a good life. I will continue to do such things in the future. How are you going to stop me? She became more and more emotional as she spoke. He reached out and pushed Gong Zili. Gong Zili stood still and let her push him. He lowered his head and looked at her with cold eyes, disappointment flashing in his eyes. I always thought I was the one who knew you best, but now I know I was wrong. Shenro, do you know what you look like now? Shenro met his gaze, her body froze for a moment, she clenched her fists and said, Gong Zili, don't talk about these things. You just said you don't understand me now, don't you think it's ridiculous? Just because I wasn't the one who saved you that night, so you feel like you don't know me. Anyway, whatever I do now is wrong, ha. The disappointment in Gong Zili's eyes became more and more intense. It has nothing to do with what happened that night. I was worried about our friendship for many years, so I had this meeting. In short, you can take care of yourself. After saying that, Gong Zili turned around and prepared to leave. Gong Zili, stop right here. Seeing that he was about to leave, Shenro rushed to him emotionally and reached out to hold him. You haven't answered my question yet. Are you also in love with Jiao Mian? You are in love with her, right? Otherwise, why would you help her? End of this chapter.